some work. So with the help of the donors, yes, it's there, but it can be expanded for future growth. So that's what it is. So the bottom line is, as it is now, we are looking to complete this project if we can resolve all the issues before the end of 2022. We're looking at the initial date is September, but there has been no movement yet in terms of receiving the RAP compensation. Now with District 6, things are slightly different. Yeah. So District 6, all right, so let me go like this. The substation that's supposed to feed the people in the community where you or everybody's in.
War zone.
Exactly.
Batteries.
Everywhere. The substations, all the way to Always Grow. The substations are the ones that we're building at the EBK barrage and the one we're building at RIA. These are the substations. If these substations are not built, we cannot connect anybody. So it doesn't matter how much people really wire to your house you see right now. If these substations are not built, you cannot get connected. However, within District 6, there is a slight opportunity. Yes, the substation is not built, but we already have an existing, not with the project, there is an existing line that stretches as far as Baptist Seminary under the existing network. That is the network, not the project. So, for that area, that existing network falls under the project area too. But we're not going to rebuild. So we're seeing that since there is existing network being fed from Page substation, we could connect some people within that area instead of everybody waiting for shuffling in RIA. So if you notice that, I don't know how long when last been in that area, you see that some people have been connected within that area from the Kenninjaz intersection.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, you see some people are being connected. In fact, the government requested that we put up a transformer there, and we did that for Jamaica Resort. That was the first transformer we erected over there. We installed that transformer, and we are going further. We are connecting some people because that one is under the existing network being fed from the Beansville substation. The problem we have is that the people directly opposite Kingston and all the places, because that network is only on the right hand side. Yeah, it's only on the right hand side. But we'll deal with that. The question becomes, should everybody wait for EBK barrage substation to come up before Puebla, or those who are able to be connected right now, should we connect them? That would be the question. What do you do? If you're supposed to connect, say, 30,000 people, with the substation, everything will move 30,000 people, but yet, without the substation, you can connect with 2,000 people. What do? You want everybody to wait for the 30,000, or you go ahead and connect 2,000? We think that if you give one person light today, give that person light. So that is what we're doing. There are a lot of challenges because once you start that, it may be difficult to curtail, but that is the decision from management that we should proceed in that manner. So we have begun to do the necessary things to connect those few people while continuing to build a network. See, the distribution people are working as if there is no issue with transmission lines. They are continuing to work. Everything is going on. And this project, like I said earlier, is going to go as far as Always Grow. Everything is still working. The towers came in country, yesterday?
Yes, sir.
The towers came in country yesterday.
The towers are what?
The transmission line towers.
Okay.
So those are the main things. So the towers will start in tower erection by the second week in January. You should see towers being erected. So when you come from the holiday break or something, that's the main indication that we're ready to bring in current. Because you build a substation and the power doesn't go there, the substation means nothing. As far as the substation is there, we have progressed, tremendously. We've done a lot of work on the substation. So if you just go there, you see it, but the power needs to go to the substation. And the power won't go there through the transmission lines. And the transmission line is where we have the problem doing that. So
you talk a lot about public works, disagreement with public works. Is that it?
Well, it's not a disagreement. Yeah. The truth of the matter, you got two projects being done.
Okay.
And they are interfering with each other. That's what it is.
So the question would be, when that project was conceived and the public works, the road work hasn't started, right? Is that correct?
That's absolutely correct.
So when the road work was about to start, what effort did both agencies made to least harmonize or reconcile so as to avoid the delay that you are experiencing now?
Yeah, we've been working with them. Every time we go in the field, we take them. And it's challenging. I have to say that people in public works who have been very committed and they've been very supportive in what we're doing. There's some people in public works that have been very supportive. Yes, it wasn't, at the time, we were ahead. So the way it works, usually the project that is advanced, whatever is coming, we'll try to design based on whatever is existing. Unfortunately, that's not quite the case yet. So they have their own constraints in terms of the area space that they need for their work. And we have gone into it because of what they thought would have been previously. So we have to now do some shifting. But honorable is possible. I mean, it's possible. But it can only be done with people coming to the table making some concessions. If the Ministry of Public Works will come and say, look, we need this space and it must be this space. And the LEC will come and say, look, we need it and it must be, then Liberia will suffer.
Right.
So we must both make concessions. That's how we have to compromise certain things. That's why when you asked about the tower being too close to the road, that was my comment. Right. Yes, it is close. It's closer than we would like, but that is probably the best thing.
Because from a layman's point of view, when you see the holes that have been done, and they have already been clearing that was done by the contractor who's engaged with the road project.
That's right.
The question is, if the towers are constructed, will the 4-lane goal be fulfilled?
Absolutely.
It looks too close.
Yeah, and also, first of all, when you see the excavation, it's just, you need big space to do the foundation. So the excavation footprint is going to be much bigger than the actual footprint of the tower. So once we've done that, we backfilled, the road can still come in and do that. See, that's certainly possible. And I want you to know, I would like to know also that every tower position, we walked the first 10 kilometers. All of us here, most of us here, we walked with the road consultant. We walked I'm not saying some, every tower for 10 kilometers from the tower position to the road where the road will be. We checked everything. And it's confirmed that none of those positions, what we decided on that, will be in the way of the road. But we can't go too far off the road. Also, then we go into private lands. When we start going to private land, then the compensation becomes much higher. But not only that, the land is not a big deal. See, you don't have a lot of problems between the airport and because you don't have a lot of structure. But when you pass that area, start coming toward the urban side, right, they got some huge buildings there. So don't forget, if you're coming from the airport, going to shopping, if you go too deep in and you get to the urban side, you can't come back inside, you understand? Then you have a problem. So you have to do it in a way because it's a whole line. So you have to gauge it. So yes, you don't have any issues along the shopping area, but soon after when you start to get to R2 and all those places, you start to see those buildings. At that point, what do? Do you come back and dress toward the road? You cannot do that. So that's the thing. That's why we're trying to tell our colleagues, our public work, and like I said, some of them.
So the latest information that there had to be some discussion for you to do for you to push back a little bit.
Yes.
How would that delay the project that is already delayed?
So we had a scheduled visit with the Ministry of Public Works in the field, but for some other reason they could not honor that. We're saying that there is no need to shift those towers. That is our position. You can't, if you look at using the naked eye, say yes, you said so, you said tower close to the road by the naked eye. Right. But we're technocrats, we don't just look at the tower and say it's close to the road. What is the basis of you saying close to the road? We do the measurement and see what it is and see if it's on the road. So our position here is they may be close, but they are tolerable. So we said, let's go in the field. Let's measure everything again with the minister herself, the acting minister herself was involved in the discussion, and we had agreed to go in the field and so that she can see and we can convince her that they may appear too close, but they also are tolerable. So that was a decision made, but unfortunately, the Ministry of Public Works has some other, I think, logistical challenges, and they have not honored that commitment to go in the field. As soon as they're able to do it, we go there. As it is now, they have not stopped us again, even though they have expressed concerns about the proximity of the poles to the road, and they said they want to go there, but we are still working. So we are still working. That's why I say, but within 2 weeks, 3 weeks, you see towers up. We are still working, and if things go the way we wish they will go, then we won't schedule. I can assure you that by September.
Are you going to give us another timeline? As to when
No.
You
see, these are emerging. The problem, sir, is that these are emerging challenges. Now, if public working gave us guarantee that you find, I give you a definite timeline. But if we go and change tower position, we may have to redesign. We have to do procurement. See, it's not all about the money. It's the procurement. Because the procurement time will take longer than even the construction time, the design and procurement. See, that's what it is. So if we can get the assurance that yes, we're good to go, I can tell you today that it will finish this time. If it doesn't finish, I can have the contractors have them for liquidated damage. They pay for every day, every delay, every day. But as it is now, it's truly is difficult. We're just working. We're hoping that.
So, another question. I mean, before they come in, there are complaints about pools not being properly planted. That and pools have been dug. I think recently around the Fort Town area, leaving Discovery coming down. We lost a child there from getting in the pit. I don't know which one of you.
It is not in our.
It's
road people.
It's road.
Road people, they check some soil pit.
They are digging the
soil.
It's not in our pit.
Yeah.
So it's not. The road people were saying it was you.
Yes.
Okay, so that.
The road say it's us.
Yeah. So that we'll find out. We lost a child over there. Okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, because sir, on our project, we did it under the contract with the donors. If there is an accident, we need to be notified within 24 hours. Within 24 hours to be notified, and we must notify the donor as well. And I was hoping that wasn't true. I'm glad it's not, because if it had happened and they didn't notify me, they'd be in serious problem right now. So I'm glad that he's saying that it's a real work. So you heard about it, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
But it is not in our.
Okay, very good. No,
It's not just
Yesterday we visit the site.
Yesterday
It's not ours.
you explained to them.
Okay,
It's not our.
okay, good. All right.
So next in there. So
No, but you see let's go back to the pool
Sure.
not being planted properly.
Properly.
What would it mean when you say that?
Well, I think the sense that the poles are shaking. So the question would be, who are you hiring to do this work? Because again, if that is true, again, these are all reports that I have possibly verified. But for the sake of our discussion, I had to alert you.
Okay.
So if there were any instances where poles have been planted or not properly planted, we see poles laying around, we don't know why. I mean, the poles are there, but they've been laying for months now.
Right.
The question is why.
Okay, so let me just address that for a second. So there's a reason why contractors sometimes like to look for shortcuts. There's a reason why we hire supervisor way. Even ourselves, LEC, we have our own level of supervision. So if there is any concern about things that have been properly done, we should have spotted them. And if we didn't, it's not that every time we spot them, we can make them correct it. At any point, they can correct it. But sometimes, if you say it's not a problem, I'm just wondering, what made you say that? But I will take that in, and we'll go and take a look tomorrow. If you're interested, there is a field visit with the African Development Bank tomorrow. It was 9 o'clock, but I think I saw something that said 11. But it'll be either 9 o'clock or 11 o'clock. And if you're interested, I can link you with the tax manager for the African Development Bank. He's a young guy, very accessible. And then maybe you guys can begin, some sort of relationship, and then you can tell them about the concerns of your people, and you can probably start chipping in about maybe extra money for those communities that were left out. This could be an opportunity for you.
Sure.
But yeah, but tomorrow that field visit is scheduled. Unfortunately though, I haven't told them yet, but I may not make that field visit. Yeah, tomorrow I will have other people there. But if you can do it, it might be an opportunity for you to meet these donors. Because even if the project finished, we're talking about bringing more money.
Right.
You will already have some sort of
Which of course, I see the need coming up because those are emerging communities. There are a lot of people are building in these areas, and I think, like you said, with the need for that, once you have a system in place, you can always extend.
Yeah. That's what it is. But I take note of the question about the quality of the work, and Deepak, that's
I mean, regarding the poles laying down.
Yeah, poles laying down.
Okay, that one.
Poles laying down one.
Because of the same Ministry of Public Works issue. Since the design is not final, we have just kept the poles there instead of planting them. Because if we plant them, then again the Ministry of Public Works, if they say that it is interfering with the road, then again we need to shift the pole.
But did they give you the alignment? Have they give you that road alignment for the remaining 35 kilometers?
This is given, sir, but that is not approved.
Is that approved yet? See, so this is one of the main problems we're having. The only design that's approved, from our understanding, is the 10 kilometers. So with the 10 kilometers, we can work within that because they have an approved design. But the rest of the 35 kilometers is not approved. So it's possible you work on it, then somebody could change something, and then so that's the problem we're having. So what we did was we put poles along the way, so that once it's confirmed, we just go and erect those poles. And about Deepak, I hope that's not an excuse for us to do sloppy work or to just put them and forget about it.
Regarding the shaking of the poles, we are putting concrete for every pole.
Yeah, that's what I'm concerned about because
we are putting concrete
concrete
for every pole. They won't shake because if you are shaking it, that means there was no concrete. We have not done the concreting work because of this public work issue. We have not done
even the LB poles we got concrete there, right?
Yeah,
so every pole has concrete. Every pole has concrete, so that should make it. Because a lot of swamp communities, we made sure we did that. Now we don't have that in any other project. Other project we want to put concrete in certain communities because of the nature of the soil. But in your area, all the poles we got concrete. Yeah, no, not wooden pole, but they got concrete foundation at the bottom, just to make them more solid. Yeah, because most of the area wet areas in there.
And after the time of finishing, we'll even do the coping like
from the ground.
from
We
the
make
ground,
it 300.
Like from the ground like 300 mm, we'll again make
Exception.
concrete for that.
So let's just make sure that they go on the right depth
Yeah,
on every pole. Make sure they're doing the right depth, and make sure they're doing that because we're gonna go again and do the inspection.
Yes, sir.
And the thing about the inspection, even when they finish with the work, and if you spot something was not done properly, they can still have a rework at their own expense. And even after that, after they've done everything, there's something called defect liability period, 12 months. So if there's an issue, they can still come back and correct them. So it's at that disadvantage to do sloppy job. It's really at that disadvantage. You don't want to do that.
Okay. And for you to mind, you talk about the rock issue.
Yes.
And can you give us a ballpark figure for this whole project?
Well, like I said, with the rap we did a
No,
rap report.
not a rock. The entire project, which is now being implemented by the African Development Bank. How much African Development Bank paying for this?
Okay, so there's a project called LEC, which is what we do, like Energy Efficiency and Access Project, which has several components. The electrification on the RIA road is one component. We have some capacity building component. We have some assistance to other government entities, the EPA, RRE, and Ministry of Energy, Mines and Energy. We have that. We also had the Primo to Fishtown. All those things amount to about $44 million United States dollars. Yes, that's what it is.
But the $234,000 rock payment, it was for this, the RI corridor?
For the RIA corridor.
Alone?
Yes, alone, $236,000.
$36,000.
And under the project agreement, the government of the Republic of Liberia is responsible for RAP compensation. So in the project, we have some savings. Because don't forget, the project amount is based on some budget estimate. So for example, we estimated that to do the work, I'll just throw a number out there, to do the work along the RIA road, maybe it costs 20,000. That was estimate. And then when we did the bidding and we did everything, maybe it cost 18.5. I mean, so 20 million, after everything came to 18.5 million, so there's 1.5 million savings. That's how I did. That's for example. So the savings that in the project, there is money, savings that could cover the RAP payment. But the bank's policy is that the bank does not pay for RAP. So because of that, the bank have vehemently said that they would not pay that amount. So the government of Liberia has to pay the RAP.
So
this has been communicated to the bank, to the government.
To the government. So worst case scenario, if we as a government, we delay the payment for the RAP, but it shouldn't be better because compared to $44 million versus $234,000, that's nothing for us. But assuming that the funding is being delayed, would that really hurt the project?
It's a serious, right now as I speak to you, there is a serious risk of the project being halted. Don't forget, like I said, the bank is in contact doing a mission this week, and tomorrow is the day for field. We are not even supposed to start construction without compensation. We've already begun, so we've been in violation.
Okay.
But I told you why we did what we did, because we're seeing area. We can try to justify that we're in areas where there was no issue for RAP, which is not entirely true, but we can say that. Bottom line is, we cannot proceed because these people, when they start the work, they say, oh, 2 tower feet are in somebody's land. And the people who say, don't, pay me before you put it in there. So these are some of the issues that we've been facing. And the bank is aware of these issues.
Okay.
So the bank has told us during this mission yesterday and the day before that they are close to putting a stop on the project if the RAP is not paid. They don't care where the government takes the money from, they just say the RAP is not paid.
So I think
So there could be a communication coming from the bank to the government of Liberia soon concerning this.
okay.
Yeah.
I think we also have to weigh into on the issue.
And Honorable, I should tell you also that informally I've been told that there's money there. The government, some time ago, the 6-month budget, they put in some money for this thing.
Okay.
But there is some bureaucracy to take that money from there to give it down for us to do the work. It hasn't happened. The government is supposed to contribute $1.1 million to the project as part of the structure of the project. I think there's 700,000, that's what I've been told, that was budgeted for. It's in an approved budget. But that has not been trickled down to us. So
that's our job now.
if you can come in, that's why I
Yeah.
told the bank about this meeting. Actually, I informed the Revenue Development Bank. That's why I'm not in the meeting they're having right now. I informed them that we'll be having this meeting with you, and we ask you to, do whatever you can to intervene in talking to the
I think we should.
to the Ministry of Finance.
Given everything that has been done there, and we see the evidence, we see the work. Yes, we are concerned why we have been connected sooner than now, but we know it's coming. So I don't see why, as a government, as a state, we will not do our part. I mean, a minute part, $234,000. So again, after this meeting, those are things that we'll be looking at to make it up, just to ensure that our people are relieved. This is not, they're talking about electricity, where people, they call us all the time that they are tired of using generators, they can afford it, suffering, and many persons even constructed homes there, but they cannot move there because of fear of what they're going to do. So I think this is a clarion call for us to move on this.
But why you do the follow-up, just so you know, you can always refer to a communication from the Minister of Mines and Energy to the Minister of Finance and Development Planning. So it's already there. We've already done what we're supposed to do. I think we may just be a victim of bureaucracy. That's all it may be. But I think the funding is there. Because they told us that it's in the budget. I don't have any, you can't see the budget. I don't know what's in there.
Okay. No, we'll follow from that.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thanks to the team. Sorry that I joined late, and I think I'm very much familiar with
Yes, sir.
Mr. Timber here, I border this district. So we have a long stretch, and many of the concerns raised are the same concerns we have. I have three, issues that I would just like to have some clarity to also provide information to my people. One has to do with the timing, because our people, they don't understand all the dynamics of how electricity is distributed and all of that, because I am the host of the hydro. My district hosts the hydro, Harrisburg. And unfortunately, all of the areas in that area, including Bensonville, which is the capital city of Monserrado County, does not have light. It is sad. If you went to Buchanan, you see light. It's the capital of Canbassa. They have light. Monserrado, the seat of government, its capital, does not have light. Why?
Okay, so first of all, Buchanan doesn't have light. I see. Yeah. But that doesn't mean most of Benton should not have light. So it's a tough one. Some time ago, we demarcated. We as a country, we demarcated the country into different areas and assigned portion of different donors. And Bensonville, Harrisburg, coming all the way through Roosevelt. Yeah. Well, not Curioursburg, but that area coming from that side toward Benton. We it was under the KFW. That's the Germans. The Germans came to Liberia, and I took them there. We drove from Clay Ashland. We did an entire route in the southern area. This is something about probably 2017, early 2018. I think it was 2017. And when they did that, at the time it was not economically viable to do many of the areas, and driving from Clay Ashland all the way to Benton. The population was sparse. So because of that, it was a third gap area that they said they would look into if possible. Unfortunately, they didn't consider that gap area. They're doing two other areas. So that area was taken out of that project because of they didn't have enough funding for that, and it wasn't very enticing. I mean, I know it's socially yes, it makes sense, but economically they have some questions about that. That's what happened. But your area mainly around the Fender area where it was part of your district as well, was done by the World Bank on the LEC project. That project finished, and a lot of gap areas in that project, in that area. And I said earlier before you came, I said one of the problems we have is that we have a donor who come and give you a whole corridor and say I will do it from Pinson to Wheeler. That means a lot. To thoroughly and comprehensively do these areas a lot. It will be better, in hindsight, it will be better if you give a donor a smaller area and they do it effectively than to give a donor a huge area, and as a result you have a lot of gaps. So that's what happened to the area. Fortunately for you, or for the area, is that the World Bank, we communicated to them that what we did was grossly inadequate for those communities. So they came up with another project. Because the last time. Now our thinking was that since we had done it before, it would require minor design and it would go into procurement. But the World Bank has said no. In order for us to do this thing, we must go and do a thorough design, hire an expert and do a thorough design. So that has delayed us a little bit. That has delayed us because that project became effective since July 12th. It was signed April 12th. 2021, July 12th, 3 months later, it became effective. So by the time we got everything together, now we're hiring for that consultant that the World Bank wants us to get. We just concluded the evaluation and the contract should be signed within 2 weeks. So once that consultant is there, then they're gonna go back into some of those areas. For example, you know how all your religious communities you got along the way there, we're going back there and then they will do a real design of these people. It's not what we were hoping to do. We thought that we just go and do. So, for example, if we did an area and out of 10 people, 8 people got electricity, and 2 left over, we believe that you just get a transformer or get whatever. But they said no, let's do everything comprehensively. So in the next, I think within the next month, You will see people in your area doing a detailed design. For when the money is there, the project is effective, and thanks to all of you, it didn't take long being ratified. So it's effective, but it's just the implementation that we are.
How long would that take for it to be?
We have
No,
a hospital there that
Yeah,
is out of line.
it will take a little while because the way the process works, you have the consultant that we're hiring who will be mobilized within a month to go there and do the design. And it's not just the area; it's even along the Caldwell, but there's some area that we left out. Yeah, exactly. There's an area that we left out. They're gonna go back there and do that design. That's a 6-month work. 6 months, and then when the design is done, then we go and publish that for contractor to come and do the work. See, that's how it is. So you're looking at work starting. The earliest is a year from now. That's the earliest.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the earliest. That's the process. That is the earliest. That's why I always tell people when you see a pole being planted, it is a result of some 12, 14 months design, blah blah blah. That's how it is. So that's what really carries the time. If you can, do the procurement quicker, it helps. Implementation, that's why you can get people to do the work easily. But it is that procurement process that you can. And now with COVID, shipping is difficult. I mean, it's just a little bit more difficult and more expensive. The timing it used to take for vessels to come, it takes longer. And for whatever the reason is, I'm sure they can explain that. Yeah.
Almost 60 days, 60 to 70 days it will take.
Yeah. For some reason, COVID has an impact on everything that we're doing here.
So half of the vessels, I mean, they are not running half of the vessels, and the containers are also less. They have become half of the containers previously. So availability of the containers is also difficult.
Yeah, so that's just some of the challenges that we don't normally come and talk about, but that's what we're facing. But we don't even listen to them when they tell us these things. We tell you got to do it. So that's what it is. Sometimes when the contractor is telling us about all these reasons, because sometimes hey, you hustle. We have an advantage where we have several contractors in country. How is it possible for one contractor to be bringing in stuff and the other contractor complaining, say, I can't bring in my stuff because of this and that? So we don't really listen to that, even though in some cases they're true. But we also think that there are some things that they can do on the end to try to make it happen. So that's what it is.
The other thing, I think LEC contracts, and I stand to be corrected, MBH, are they the ones?
No, MBH is not here. MBH don't work there.
Okay, so the MBH in Convertown, I think they're doing some work for LEC.
Yes, sir.
There has been numerous complaints. I think 1 or 2 times I've noted you and notify you on it about MBH, activities with respect to requesting money from citizens to carry poles and wires and all of those things. Has it come to the fore that you have looked into that matter to try to see how that can be solved? Because many of the communities around that are yearning for electricity, because I remember before this administration there were feasibility studies done, and there were communities that sprout up, emerging communities that were not captured under the first studies that were done to give electricity. So when the power started to flow, those communities were left out. So you will see a community here gets light, but a new community that just came out, they don't have light. And you see another older community, so the light passes over this community to this one.
It's happening now.
And so that has created a lot of power theft.
Yes.
Because people will now do everything possible to connect, because you can have light here, I have light. In the middle, people don't have light. Now, because of that, and I stand to be corrected, there has been numerous interactions between the community dwellers and MBH people. I mean, I see a lot of Ghanaians and other people on the field, and they're requesting money from the community to put monies together to pay them, and then they bring in poles and then wire, and they connect these very communities.
So the issue about extorting money is it's something that we don't tolerate. We there's no way it's not. I mean, the strongest words I can't even come out of my mouth. We don't encourage it at all. But here's the deal. Sometimes the community people put us in a difficult situation. Sometimes the community people initiate these things. When I go in the field, I do inspection all the time, search. When I go in the field, I ask the people, did anybody pay money to get connected? Everybody will say no. I get all the complaints, but when I go in the field, nobody wants to stand up. I said, nobody can do you anything. And there's no contractor, electricity period, I had all the projects. There's no contractor can say to any customer, any consumer that I will not connect you because you say nobody. Now he has a very good example. His people went and paid for poles. So the same contractor, the same MBH you're talking about in his area, and we went there. He didn't notify me. We went there, it was completely wrong. And we found out that the contractor was wrong. In fact, that led to the guy being sent out of the country.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was out. He was the main instigator. I mean, other people who are part of the whole syndicate. But the guy, the main person who was a supervisor, he was a trusted guy. He was a hard worker. But he was the one who was really behind all these money extortion. And we went there, and it was clear. The evidence was clear. In his area, they bought poles from me. I'm not talking about one or two. We know most times one pole, but several poles. And not only did they buy the poles, they erected the poles.
Connect the wires.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And these are, first of all, his area was not even part of the plan. The particular area we're talking about was not part of the plan. So he alerted me. I took my bosses there. We went there and the guys were called with their hands in the cookie jar. So what do you do in that case? The community, they want it. They want it. Desperately. They do it. I do everything I can to get it myself. But these guys now, they could not do all of it because they can carry poles, they will carry poles, but they didn't have the means to carry wires or transformers. So it became difficult. So they could not fulfill the entire arrangement from there. So because of the community can report it on, you know what I'm saying? It's like they did the wrong thing first. The community did the wrong thing by even buying those things, but you can understand that desperation. So they came back to us and said, we bought these poles for the guys, but these guys are not fulfill all of the agreement, the plenty of the poles they came in, so we called them. So because of that, we had some extra discussions, and today that community is connected.
That's correct.
Yes.
And they appreciate that.
Well, I know they appreciate that, and it's not a favor we did them. We did what we're supposed to do. We did what was right. So, sir, nobody's supposed to extort money from people. And I want to thank one of my contractors here too, Alpha T&D, the people that are doing the work on the RIA road. They've done what no other contractor has done. They have prepared flyers, leaflets to put it in all the communities, along poles. Don't pay money to anybody. See, because most times we go there, we do the awareness, sensitization, and after a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, people forget. So what these people have done, which, like I said, no contractor has done it before, they have of their own expense.
Even along the marcher route.
So you see that in your area. We've just approved it. They're gonna print it out. Now that they're doing some distribution work, they will put it in on posts. Don't pay money to anybody. I mean, there can't be any other call that will be clearer than that. So you're not supposed to pay. Another thing that happens is that when you talk about money extortion, a lot of the people, they don't wire their homes. Their homes are not wired. So when we get to them, we don't connect them, and then they want to make things happen. So they go back to these boys that hold the connection, and they give them money to come and wire their homes. Now, when you do that, they tell people that will pay to get connected. I keep telling them to wire your home is not an LEC requirement. It's a building code of Liberia. How do you've been around,
right.
You've not been around a little bit longer. When you're building a house, you're supposed to be wired, plumbing. Those things that's a building code of Liberia. See, but you build a house, there's no electrical work in there, there's no plumbing work. Now we want to bring electricity, the house is not prepared. And then they go and find people to do some funny jobs. So, but you're right, the guys are still taking money from people out there. But every time we hear about it, we do our best to investigate. And someone is found guilty, we punish the person. Yeah.
Thank you.
But help us out there, please. Help to spread the word. Nobody pays. If
That's some of
anybody,
those flyers.
yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
right.
they
Yeah.
distribute
The
it.
distributor, that,
But even though
that's
they're
what we do.
not your era, but yeah, you can still,
Yeah,
we still
yeah.
give you,
Yeah.
Because even where you are now, the marshal route, we receive complaints too that people are demanding money to have them,
Look at
to have them report here. So we,
Yeah, and the last but not the least, the issue about power theft. Is there a tax force? Because what happens is some of the very LEC people are the ones connecting these homes and having some of these homes do business with other homes that they collect money from, and they come on a regular basis to collect because they empower this home, give them a certain capacity, and these homes start to supply other homes illegally, collect a fee like you're doing community current thing, and they come on a regular basis to collect this money. But then, like you said, the community will say, no, we're not doing it. What measures are in place to ensure? Because I saw a post from Money Captain saying that there's a number, or call his number directly to report these kind of cases. Besides, I mean, his phone is going to be jammed.
Yeah, of course.
People will keep calling. But what measures are in place to not eradicate it, but curtail it to the minimum, so that these things are not happening? Because LEC people themselves are involved in, having people carry out the power theft. They are involved in it.
Okay, so I can't speak adequately about power theft. That's not something that my job is to go do the electricity and then I turn it over to my operations and maintenance people. So that's not my area. But here's what I do know. It becomes frustrating to me and to the donors, and it's a sad thing. Many times, Honorable, we go in areas like your area and there's no electricity. And then we go and connect people, they're happy. We go back 1 week later, 40% of the people on direct. The same people who had absolutely nothing. Now I can understand sometimes some people want it and they can get meter, they can get anything. But let's talk about the people who didn't have anything and we gave them meter, we gave them wagon, everything. And then they go back and bypass it because they don't believe they should pay for it, or because somebody's not paying for it, so they don't believe they should pay for it. And those same people, most of them don't even climb the poles. They go through the same LEC people, they go through people who do the work. So it's a difficult situation, and I know that some things are being done. I just don't know exactly what measures are being put in place, because that's something that I got enough headache on my own. Sure. But it's a sad thing, and I think it involves the cooperation of all of us. Everybody got to get involved because it is really, really bad. It is really bad. Look at what you call the place, 540. Yeah. 540, we took the president of 540. He did a light switching. Everybody extremely happy. 540 is one community in Liberia that has a very high rate of electrification. Because when we did it under the EU, it was the first community. We wanted to do what we have not done before, 100%. You can't do 100%, but we're way in the 90s in terms of the total number of houses. Almost 100%, 540. Everybody had meter, everything adequately. 540 is a model we wanted to use under the EU funding after we made all our mistakes before from other projects, from previous projects. So we went there, happy. They carried people to dance, dancing people to dance, to play the music. Go back to 540. Yes, go back to 540 today. The chairman calls me. People go direct in and out. See car coming, people going in. The same people who were dancing, in fact, they had, if you monitor that program, they had a drama, very good drama, about power theft. Don't do this, don't do that, don't call this person. Good drama at that program. It was a beautiful program.
So in essence, the happy moment at the time is now.
No, it's gone. It's gone because they're all involved, well, not all of them, but a lot of them are involved in the power theft. And it's an effort that must involve all of us. Tell our brothers, tell our sisters, tell our neighbors. Don't do it, because we're talking about LEC expanding when the projects are over. How can LEC expand if LEC does not have the revenue? I mean, LEC has its own problems. I'm not, saying that we're perfect, but it really is difficult. It truly is difficult for us to do anything meaningful. Revenue is not coming. People are just not paying. They just think they shouldn't pay.
Thank you. So as we conclude, any of your doctors have anything to add? Just to support.
Yeah, is there anything you want to say?
So we can conclude this. I think
we didn't coordinate anything, so it's nothing planned, nothing said. So whatever it says raw, I told them, call them, I say, we have a meeting with you, and they'll come and give updates.
Okay.
So that's what we're doing. So we can start with NCC. NCC, if you want to say anything.
Sir, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Already we discussed, English is discussed with all the things. What are the hurdles we are facing that in this line, executing this line problem.
Okay.
That same will also be requested to WAPCOs and LEC also. Yes, sir. Due to that same condition, that MOTC is changing the rules and they are giving immediately changes. We cannot go to the standard design manufacturing immediately. That manufacturer of the materials. This is the problem we are now we are facing that one. But anyway, we will do our best to complete this project at the time.
Thank you.
Alpha?
Yeah, good morning, sir.
Yes, sir.
Henry sir has already covered all the topics, sir. And regarding the one concern that you have raised, that was for quality, that we will ensure that there is no quality non-compliance, and even if it is there, then we will correct all these things, and we will make all the things as per our specifications and drawings. And regarding this pamphlet, we have distributed this pamphlet in some communities, and we have conducted community meetings also, and we have make awareness program for the communities also, that no one should come forward with any complaints for this receiving some money or giving some money for additional works. So we have been trying to convince the community people that this all works are free, and no extra money or unsolicited money, it should not be given to anyone other than their recharging amount.
Thank you.
So what I was telling you, before I conclude, one of the challenges we're facing, when you're coming from Phoenix and going for the airport, they run the John River, the John
The
River.
John River, that's
Yes.
correct. After Sheffield.
Yes, our towers were all on the right. Although has come down and said we should put everything on the left. Now towers, not something just shape, they take from here and put like that. That requires a completely new design. A completely new design. So
And the problem which we face is like transportation of one tower. We cannot transport one tower. Understand? No? I mean, if you want to transport one bottle of water, it's not possible.
no.
If there are 100 bottles, it is easy to transport. Because already we give the manufacturer clearance for all the towers as per the existing design.
Yes.
Now the design will be changed, means again we will make the design and approval, and after that give the clearance to the manufacturer, and it will be imported from there. It's a lot of processes.
So what he's saying, for example, if we did a new design and it comes so that we must change only 2 towers, and the other towers are possible, only 2 towers, what manufacturer you get to go do to get 2 towers and then put in the ship and bring it in? So it's the complications. That's what we're saying. So we want you to really help, and this is why I want to conclude on. We want you to really use your office and help. And if anybody, whether finance ministry is quite aware, but if anybody from the Ministry of Finance, from the legislature, from the executive, anybody who wants us to come and explain these things, we can do so they have a full understanding of what's happening. But the issue of the compensation is very important. Yeah, at least the areas that are cleared, that we can work in, without the road work. Let's do that. And then secondly, let us engage public works. And you can tell them, you can say Henry Kimmer said that, the works is stalling our project. So how do we go from there? If that's let's do it. If what we have, if that's the final, then we can proceed. But our fear is something might change again because they have not given us the full clearance to work.
Well, I think it was so before we do the closing statement. So are you prepared to at least indicate to our people who are desperate and anxious for this electricity in that corridor that it will be delivered soon or a specific time?
No, it will be delivered. Like I said right now, based on, because what we're doing right now is meter construction. And we have plenty of people on ground that can do it. Mobilizing can be done. There are a lot of Liberians here who at least know how to erect, a pole or a tower. So yes, we can do that. considering the timeline right now, we'll need a maximum of 9 months.
9 months.
Yeah, considering the timeline now, to complete everything. It does not mean that it will take 9 months for somebody to get electricity. Because like I said earlier, we electrify as we go along. If for example, the project will take about 9 months to be completed, probably within 7 months we can begin to start electrifying people. So that's what we're saying. But that is if everything goes well right now. If we have to go back and stop and do a redesign, do a different procurement, that would delay the project further. And if the average,
That's applied to my area.
no, your area is different. Your area, the guy will start doing a design. Your area probably don't have anything with road business. Your road thing, I think it's good for a while. No, we don't have anything with your road work yet. Your area is fine. Another thing is that your guy who's supposed to do the design should be mobilized in a month from now. So when he starts, we will come in there. In fact, we just concluded a meeting last week that we're going to start the community sensitization. Yes, that we're coming in with the design. Before the guy comes in, we're doing it. We just concluded that in the meeting last week. So you can tell people that people come in to do designs. Now when we do the design, we look at the design. See the caveat there is it doesn't mean everybody will get that. Because right now we don't know the extent. The work is about what, $20-40 million something. I don't remember the exact number that's given for that particular work. So we have this guy come and do the full design. When he does the design, we're hoping that everything that can fit within the budget. But if it turns